Hey everyone. My camera battery died and that's why I'm on my webcam doing this video. And hopefully it looks clear. I'm in my bathroom again. I feel like I'm always in my bathroom doing videos these days, but it's kind of the only quiet place, and the baby's asleep in the next room. And so why not do them in the bathroom? A mom's got to do what a mom's got to do. Or a mommy vlogger has to do what a mommy vlogger has to do, I guess. So I am going to do the controversial parenting tag, and if everybody feels comfortable with doing this, they should follow along, and I will put all the topics in the description box below, and you can do it as well. So first topic is pro-life versus pro-choice. Okay, let me try and explain this. I am for a woman's choice. So I think that a woman has the right to choose whether she wants to keep her baby or not. That doesn't mean that is what I would do. I, in any circumstance, I'm married. I would have the baby. That's just my personal choice. But if another person were to ask me, well, what should I do? I'd say, you know what, it's up to you to do what you think is right, and I think that women should have the right to choose. So I guess that makes me pro-choice, but I support that, but for me personally, I'm pro-life. Um, I couldn't do that personally. But the next topic is, hopefully I worded that right. The next topic is baby wearing. So I know some people are like really like feel super strongly about this, and I have worn Bella since she was about 2 or 3 days old, and I still wear her sometimes. I don't always wear her. Like when we go grocery shopping, I usually don't wear her. She goes in the stroller. But if I'm going to be walking around a lot and I don't have to be picking up things and putting them into baskets, not that I'm saying that that's hard to do when you're baby wearing, but I only have a Moby wrap and I love my Moby wrap. But I actually like the Moby wrap more when she was little because she could be really close to me. A wrap or a sling is good for when they're little, I think, but then I would need something more like a Becco, if that's how you pronounce it, carrier, something to that effect. So I support baby wearing. I baby wear. I think it's a great idea. It definitely, in the beginning, I felt very bonded and close to Isabella. And I still wear her often in the Moby. It's starting to get a little uncomfortable though, like I said, because she's weighing around, I think, 18 pounds. So yeah, circumcision. So I don't have a boy, I have a girl. But me and my husband talked about circumcision when I was in the first stages of pregnancy before I knew I was having a girl, and I said, if I have a boy, I don't want to circumcise him. It's not something that if someone told me, oh, I'm going to circumcise my baby, I'd go, oh, no, you're not. I would never do that. You know, I just wouldn't do it to my son, if I ever have a son. So I guess that's sort of my view on that. If you want to circumcise your baby, then that's up to you, and that's your personal decision. And quick funny story though, when I was doing my hospital tour, we were with 2 other women and their husbands, and then one woman that was just by herself, and everybody was having girls except for this one woman that was by herself. And we were going down to the show, everything where everything is done. And the woman giving us a tour said, and is anyone having a boy? And the woman raised her hand, and then the woman said, okay, so will you be circumcising or not? And she said, we're not sure yet. And this woman, in all seriousness, the woman giving the tour, it was more of a birth center, the woman giving the tour said to the woman that said she wasn't sure yet, she goes, okay, well, let me just tell you how they do it. They strap them down and then they cut it off. And I was like, oh my gosh. You did not just say that to that woman. That's horrible, you know? But I mean, I had already made my decision. I already knew I was having a girl, but I had already made my decision that I wasn't going to do that. Anyways, just a funny little story. Kind of, she was very serious about that. Um, anyways, adoption is the next topic, and I'm not quite sure what I don't know. Maybe there's some people that just don't support adoption, or they feel strongly that you shouldn't adopt, or they feel super strongly that you just should adopt. Not quite sure about that. Um, but I support adoption. I know tons of people who have adopted. I have had friends that have been adopted. I think that that's a wonderful thing, and I don't know really why anyone, would be against adoption or would have a strong feeling, you know, a negative feeling about adoption. But I mean, if I ever got the chance to adopt, then to be honest, I probably would. I think that that's great. Baby piercing. I'm not sure about this one. I have a girl, so I've always seen little girls and, babies like 6 months, 1 year old have their ears pierced, and I think it's really cute. And from my own experience, I wish that my mom would have had my ears pierced when I was younger, because I remember being really scared when I was like 7 years old going to get my ears pierced. But then I see the other side of like, let them decide, don't put a hole in their body without them, because I wouldn't have wanted someone to put my tattoos on me without me deciding what they were going to tattoo me with. So I kind of look at it like that and think to myself, I probably think that it's not a good idea to pierce your baby's ears, because you're putting a hole in their body and they aren't even having any say over it. And it will heal and it will stay there, you know, forever and ever. Amen. Um, so that's kind of how I feel about that. I sort of started off naive a couple of years ago, like, yeah, I'll pierce my little girl's ears before I was pregnant or anything like that. And then slowly but surely decided that that probably wasn't the right thing for me. Breastfeeding versus formula feeding. So if you watch my videos and you followed me, you know that I don't breastfeed anymore. And it's not because I didn't want to, and it's not because I didn't try or I didn't at all. I did. Um, and you know that I got very sick about a week to a week and a half after she was born, and my milk supply like went way down. I tried getting it back up with several different things. Of course, I feel now looking back on it like I could have tried harder, and that's the honest truth. I'm not gonna just make it seem all rosy like, oh, I did my best. Well, no, I think I really could have tried harder, and I kind of, kick myself a little bit when I think of, I stopped trying. I got so frustrated because I was sick with a fever and my supply diminished. But I did pump as long as I was still producing. Even if I was only producing an ounce, I pumped, and then I would give that to her, and then I would supplement the rest of it with formula. Um, anyways, so she was breastfed, um, almost weaned actually, because she started off completely exclusively breastfed, and then I got sick, and then it turned into I was pumping and giving her whatever I could, or breastfeeding her, and then whatever she drained both of them, and then I would move on to a bottle if she was still hungry. But I fully support breastfeeding. I obviously formula feed, so I don't think that's bad either. And I do know with formula feeding, my personal problem with that is that I've had to go through several different kinds of formula because she was sensitive to a lot of stuff. And I know with breastfeeding, similar things have happened to people. They have to go on a diet, and so on and so forth. But yes, I support both of them. And I did breastfeed and I do formula feed. So we did both. Hopefully with the next baby I can completely breastfeed as long as I want to. Anyways, spanking. No. I was spanked once for running out in the middle of the street. And my dad was just scared. and that's the only reason I was ever spanked. And my husband was spanked, more often than that, but I don't agree with it. I mean, it's your choice to go and spank your child, but I would really like to avoid that and do other things. So that's how I feel about that. Co-sleeping. So we all share a room. My husband and I and Bella. Her crib's at the end of our bed. Um, and we still to this day, if she's having a hard time falling asleep in her crib or having a hard night, we'll bring her into bed with us. But we don't like actively co-sleep. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but she doesn't fall asleep in our bed and cannot fall asleep in our bed. Never has been able to. Um, she just kind of like really likes to be put in her crib and be put to bed and fall asleep on her own. When she was little and I was still breastfeeding, yep, she slept with us in the bed. And then sometimes she slept in, we didn't have an arm's reach co-sleeper, but we had the one that lays on the bed, the summer infant co-sleeper. And it lays in, like, it would lay in between us and she would lay in that. And it was her own little bed, but it was in the bed with us. That sort of worked and it sort of didn't. So I support co-sleeping. That's a great. Like I said, we still part of the time do that if she's just wanting some cuddling and wants to be in our bed. Home versus public versus private versus charter schooling. I've always said I wanted to homeschool my kids. I've taught kids swimming. I've taught kids lots of different things, and I've done that my whole life. So I want to homeschool. Of course, when they get old enough to choose whether they'd like to be homeschooled or go to public school, then I wouldn't have a problem with that either. The schools in our area are not the best schools, and I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable sending her to one of them. Not that they're like horrible schools and anything like that, but I went to the schools in this area, and I wish I didn't. I don't know if that makes any sense. So that's kind of my view on that. I want to homeschool, but we'll just see where that goes. Vaccines. We have done, we have opted out of some vaccines, and we have given her some vaccines. I would have to get the vaccination list that I have to go over it with you and tell you which ones that we've done and which ones we haven't done. I did them later on in the game when she was first born, and they said, "Do you want any vaccines?" I told them, "No, nothing. Nothing at all, please." Because I really wanted to do some more. You know what I'm trying to say. I wanted to do some research on vaccines and vaccinations and all that. So there are some that we have opted out of, and then some that we have said, "Sure, go ahead." Medicating babies. I'd rather not. And if I am going to medicate, then it has to be for a reason. I'm not just going to give her medicine just because I can. I'm not going to give her medicine just because I think, oh, something's wrong. If I'm going to try everything to fix the problem before I medicate her. And that's kind of how I feel on that. So, yeah. Of course, obviously, if your baby needs medication, then you should go to a doctor and talk to them about that. Cloth versus disposables. So this is another thing that I'm kind of like, I did disposables and they were fine, but they definitely weren't cloth. And I will say that because today in particular, we had a massive blowout, and I'm telling you, a disposable would not have caught that. But my cloth diaper did. So I am way more in favor for cloth diapering than I am for disposables, but I don't think that disposables are, sinful or anything like that. So that's kind of how I feel about that. Like I said, we used disposables for the first few months, and until I was able to convince my husband, and we were able to gather up some money to get some cloth diapers, and now I do, and it's great, and I totally suggest it to anybody, and I love it. And the last topic is the cry it out method. So I don't and never would and can't, physically can't listen to her cry, like knowingly sob and cry those little crocodile baby tears. I can't do it. I can let her whine and fuss, a little bit, and that kind of thing. But crying, no, I don't. I don't think that that's right. Obviously, your baby. If you have a baby, I have a baby who does this, so I can totally relate to women who you've done everything for your child and you are holding them and rocking them and they are still crying and there's nothing more you can do for that baby. I don't think that's the cry it out method. And I just want to, straighten that out. So, but leaving your baby like in the crib to cry, to go to sleep or to take a nap, I don't think that's right. So that's kind of sums up everything. I hope I answered everybody's questions or all the questions on here correctly. And by correctly, I mean I hope I elaborated enough, not like correctly, because this is kind of an opinionated thing. But I hope that I elaborated enough and explained it. If you have any comments or questions, just leave them in the comment section below. And yeah, if you want to, you should definitely join in and do this tag. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.